I am the cause. Not because life is easy, and not because I control everything, but because I refuse to live as a passenger in my own existence. I will not hand the steering wheel to my moods, my past, other people's opinions, or the randomness of the world. I am the cause, because responsibility is the first door to freedom. And if you want transformation that is real, not motivational, not temporary, not cosmetic, then this is where we start. Let me speak to you like you were sitting in front of me, because I don't want you to enjoy this episode. I want you to use it. I want you to leave with a sharper mind and a stronger spine. There is a global crisis happening quietly, and it's not only economic, and it's not only political, and it's not only cultural. It is an identity crisis. People no longer know who they are. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know what they tolerate. They don't know what their word means. They don't know what their life is for. And when identity becomes unclear, life becomes reactive. You start living from impulse. You start blaming the world for the results you keep creating. You start outsourcing responsibility to circumstances, and you call it realism. But responsibility is not heaviness. Responsibility is power. Here is the spiritual principle for today, stated plainly and without mythology. Reality responds to cause and effect, and your identity is a primary cause. Not the only cause, but a primary one. Because identity shapes decisions. Decisions shape habits. Habits shape outcomes. And outcomes become the life you call your reality. When someone says, "I want a different life," but keeps the same identity, the same standards, the same excuses, the same emotional patterns, they are asking for a new harvest without changing the seed. That is not spiritual. That is not intelligent. That is denial. If you want a different life, you start with a different inner cause. Now I want to expose something dangerous. Blame feels like relief, but it is a prison. Blame gives you a story that protects your ego, but it steals your power. Blame says it's them. Blame says it's the system. Blame says it's the economy. Blame says it's my childhood. Blame says it's my personality. And I'm not denying that some of those things are real factors. Some people truly face harder environments, unfair treatment, or painful beginnings. But hear this carefully. Factors are real. Blame is optional. And the moment you choose blame as your identity, you trade power for comfort. You might win the argument, but you lose the future. Now, let us bridge this to money and prosperity, because this channel is not a place for beautiful words without application. Wealth is built where responsibility is embraced. Not greed, not obsession, not hype. Responsibility. Money obeys stewardship. Stewardship is the ability to manage what you already have, to honor your resources, to make decisions with clarity, and to follow through with discipline. The person who blames everything external will struggle with stewardship, because stewardship begins with a simple sentence: "This is my responsibility." If you blame the economy for everything, you stop learning skills. If you blame your boss for everything, you stop building leverage. If you blame your family for everything, you stop developing emotional maturity. If you blame your past for everything, you stop taking present action. And then you wonder why your results don't change. Here is the money bridge stated as a law. Prosperity flows toward the person who becomes a reliable cause. A reliable cause is someone who produces, someone who finishes, someone who learns, someone who corrects, someone who does not collapse into excuses when results are slow. Someone who accepts the truth that outcomes require adjustment, not complaint. Let me give you a story, because stories make truth unavoidable. Imagine a man standing in front of a mirror every morning. He wants to look strong, healthy, and disciplined. But every morning, he stands there and argues with the mirror. He says, "Why do you look like this?" He says, "This isn't fair." He says, "I have bad genetics." He says, "My schedule is too busy." He says, "Other people have it easier." He says a lot of things. But the mirror does not respond to his arguments. The mirror responds to his actions. The mirror simply reflects the truth of what he repeatedly does. So one day, instead of arguing, he makes a shift. He stops speaking to the mirror like a victim, and he starts speaking to the mirror like a builder. He says, "This is my responsibility now." He stops chasing perfect motivation. He starts training consistent behavior. He stops expecting fast change. He commits to steady change. Weeks pass. The mirror changes. Not because the mirror is kind, but because the man became the cause. Now, apply that to your finances. Apply it to your relationships. Apply it to your mind. Life is a mirror, and the mirror does not negotiate with your excuses. This is where identity becomes the foundation. Identity precedes reality, because identity governs choice. If your identity is, "I am unlucky," you will behave like a person who expects loss. If your identity is, "I am always late," you will live in disorder. If your identity is, "I am not good with money," you will treat money with fear and avoidance. If your identity is, "I am disciplined," you will behave differently even before the results appear. This is why I teach you to claim a higher identity first, but not in fantasy, in responsibility. To say, "I am the cause," is not to pretend you control everything. It is to declare that you control enough to change your direction. You control your attention. You control your standards. You control the choices you repeat. You control what you tolerate. You control the effort you invest. You control the honesty you apply. And if you control those things, you control your future more than you think. Now we move into the practice, because every transformation requires a protocol. Feelings don't produce change. Protocols produce change. Here is the repeatable practice for this episode. I want you to treat it like a laboratory procedure, not like motivational advice. I call it the Cause Audit. Step 1. Identify the outcome you want to change. Choose one outcome, not your entire life, one outcome. It could be financial. I want to stop living with money anxiety. It could be personal. I want to stop breaking promises to myself. It could be relational. I want healthier communication. It could be professional. I want consistent output and progress. One outcome. Step 2. Write the truth in one sentence. The current result is... Be honest. Do not dramatize it. Do not soften it. Tell the truth like an adult. For example, the current result is I spend without tracking. Or, the current result is I procrastinate and then panic. Or, the current result is I avoid hard conversations. Step 3. Ask the most important question you can ask in this life. Where am I the cause of this result? Not where others contributed, not what society did, not what your past influenced. Where are you the cause today? This is not self-hate. This is self-rescue. You might write, I am the cause because I don't plan. I am the cause because I avoid discomfort. I am the cause because I escape into distractions. I am the cause because I tolerate chaos. I am the cause because I keep choosing short-term relief. Step 4. Identify the primary behavior that creates the result. One behavior. If the result is financial stress, the behavior might be, I don't track and I don't automate. If the result is inconsistency, the behavior might be, I wait for motivation before action. If the result is weak confidence, the behavior might be, I break my word to myself. One behavior. Step 5. Install one corrective action that you can repeat daily for 7 days. This is key. Do not choose something heroic. Choose something repeatable. If money is the issue, track every purchase for 7 days and automate one transfer. If discipline is the issue, set one non-negotiable start time for your work and honor it for 7 days. If focus is the issue, remove one distraction and do one 25-minute focus block daily. If emotional reactivity is the issue, practice a 10-second pause before responding for 7 days. 7 days is long enough to create evidence and short enough to be real. Step 6. Seal your identity with a sentence that is not emotional, just true. From today forward, I take responsibility for this outcome. Now, let me add one layer, because some people will try to escape this teaching by saying, but it's not my fault. And sometimes that's true. Some things are not your fault. But the question is not only fault. The question is control. Even when something is not your fault, you still have choices. You still have responses. You still have standards, and those are powerful. The mature person does not ask, who is to blame? The mature person asks, what is the next responsible step? And that mindset alone can change your life. Now, your action step for today must be immediate, measurable, and undeniable. Here is the action step. Write down one outcome you dislike. Then, write one sentence beginning with, I am the cause because, and take one corrective action in the next 60 minutes. Not tomorrow, not next week, in the next 60 minutes. If that feels intense, good. That is what responsibility feels like when you are not used to it. But after you do it, you will feel something better than comfort. You will feel power. Do not aim to fix your life today. Aim to reclaim your agency today. That is enough. Now we close with a declaration, and I want it to land like a hammer, not like a chant. I am the cause. I accept responsibility without shame and without arrogance. I correct what I can control, and I stop wasting energy on what I cannot. I build identity through discipline, and I build prosperity through stewardship. I restore self, I build wealth, and I leave legacy. I am the cause.